When I was in my high school, I wanted to improve my spoken English. I wanted to be good at writing, be good at storytelling. And whenever I went on the internet and searched how to improve your spoken English, a lot of people suggested that start reading books. And I was very confused where to start, what to read. I'm not able to understand English completely. Then how am I going to understand the story? So if you are also trying to improve your spoken English and want to start this habit of reading, then this video is perfect for you. I'm going to clean my bookshelf because nobody warned me when I got this that you also have to dust it regularly. And before I start this, my name is Roshan, and on this channel I teach spoken English. I talk about books and movies, everything related to this language so that we can become a fluent English speaker. And because of the protest yesterday, a lot of people were on the road. They were protesting for this NEET paper leak, but it got violent. Because of that, there is no internet today. So for the past 12 hours, I have been disconnected with the world. And it's just a scary thing, honestly. And I have been trying to spend this time by writing, by working on some other videos. But then I realized that a lot of my students were asking for book recommendation that, Roshan, where shall we start? And I would suggest to everyone that start with something that you already like. When I started reading books, I followed a simple philosophy that I wanted to read something which I enjoyed. I wasn't forcing myself to read the most popular books or the books that were too difficult. And I would suggest the same thing to you, that go back to your childhood and see what you loved as a kid, what kind of movies you enjoyed, what kind of TV shows you used to watch. And if you used to read some kind of stories, then stick to that. And gradually, once you build this habit, then you can start experimenting and you can start trying whatever you feel like. Now, I'm gonna clean this. Now, I hope that in the frame, 3 shelves are visible. I will have to dust everything. It's really dirty. David Copperfield. This is written by Charles Dickens, and I recommend it to somebody who is interested into character development. And this is for intermediate level learners. A very lengthy book. It has some 920 pages. So I don't recommend it if you have just started reading. But if you're looking on a character based story, then this is a perfect book for you, because the whole book is about this character called David Copperfield. The moment he is born, this deals with his whole life story. And I decided to read this because I was interested into British literature, and as a literature student, I thought that, you know what, something from Britain. So I gave myself a really big challenge, and I was able to do it. This is called Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I recommend it to everyone. It doesn't matter what your current level is, because this is a very short read. It has just less than 150 pages in this tiny pocket size. So it is usually around 70 to 80 pages on normal book size book. And this book is very political. It deals with how whoever is in power, they try to work for the benefit of people, but once they spend time with power, their mind is also corrupted. This book, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, this is one of my favorite books of all time. But again, I would recommend it to somebody who is at advanced level, because this is poetic essays. It's not something that you will understand from the moment you read. So if you are already able to read books, then only give it a shot. The next book is Siddhartha, an Indian Tale by Heman Hesse. This is a fictional book based on the life of Buddha. The language is very simple, so I would suggest that if you are a beginner but you want to read something philosophical, then you would love it. I started reading plain text with this book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I don't have the copy. I gave it to somebody and they never returned to me. It was my friend. So I really loved that. But my real interest in reading came when I picked up this book called Harry Potter. So this is not a single book. This has total 7 books. I hope you can see it here. Rest of the 6 books are here. This is my top recommendation to anybody who thinks that they can't read. Just pick up this one. This is a children's book, but adults also enjoy it, and especially somebody who is just targeting to learn English. They just want to get into the habit of reading. The book was written for kids, and it has total 7 parts. So when author wrote the first book, the children or the audience was very young. And as the audience was growing, the difficulty level of the book is also growing. The language is evolving, the audience is evolving. So with the book, you will be able to understand storytelling, You will be able to convey your ideas clearly and you will fall in love with reading. This one is The Guide by R.K. Narayan. I had to read this in my third year or second year of college, and I really loved it. Not because it was part of my syllabus, but the story is just so good. I think there is a movie also. And this is my suggestion, my personal belief, that don't watch movies first. First read the book, then you can explore the film. A lot of people, what they do, they watch the movie, then they read the book. But I don't recommend it, because once you read the book, you are imagining about the characters, you are getting to make the story in your head, and once you watch the movie you will be surprised that how you thought of the story and how another person, the film director, the writer, has thought or made the film. So The Guide by RK Narayan, it deals with a guide who works on a railway station, and the most important thing that it is written in Indian English. So if you are looking to read some Indian authors, then RK Narayan is for you. Now, this is a drama by William Shakespeare called Julius Caesar. I read it last year because I was trying to explore the writing of William Shakespeare, and it's not for beginners. I wouldn't even say intermediate level. If you are trying to explore some difficult text, only then go with it, because it is written in archaic English. But the best part about reading the drama is that you are able to read the dialogues. So I would suggest that take some help of YouTube lectures, some translated version of it. But this is for hardcore readers who are already into reading, so not for beginners. Julius Caesar. As I mentioned that I started reading books because of Paulo Coelho. That was my first ever plain text. And this is another trick, that whenever you like something, go deep, go into the rabbit hole. If you like the writing of that author, read more books from him. If you like the movie from a particular director, watch more movies. And the chances are 80 to 90% of the time, you will love their work. So I read The Spy, which is based on Matahari. I remember the story is about this character called Matahari. I don't know whether this is biographical or not, and it deals with a very strong woman character. So again, I love the writing of Paulo Coelho, and I think it is for everyone. So even if you are a beginner, you want to read stories based on strong characters, then this one is for you. The next book is The Stranger by Albert Camus. I recommend it to somebody who is at intermediate level. They want to explore some difficult writing, but very thought-provoking writing. And this book also has one of the most popular lines in literature. Mama died today or yesterday maybe, I don't know. So this book is, I recommend it to everyone, even if you are a beginner, but if you want to explore some philosophical, thought-provoking writing, then that is for you. Next is The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. This book has less than 100 pages, and this is just so good. I remember reading it in a single sitting, and this book is very relatable also. For example, what happens when we do a lot of work in our life but nobody is appreciating it? So does it mean that we have to stop working? No. And this single lesson from this book keeps me going. Even if my videos are failing, even if I'm not making much progress in my life, I return to this book once in a while. So The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Very easy to read, very relatable story. The next book is The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini, and this is one of my top favorite books of all time. If you are somebody who never cries, then believe me, after you read this, you are gonna cry like a baby. And again, his writing is very easy to read. Even if you are somebody who has never read a book, you will fall in love with his writing, the way he writes, the way he narrates, the way he connects all kinds of stories to a single thing. It is about these two friends who are from Afghanistan, and because of the politics there, because of the war there, they have to shift to America. And I know that after you read this, you are gonna abuse me in the comments, because this is just so heartbreaking. So if you are looking for some powerful storytelling, powerful stories, then The Kite Runner. And I recommend anything from Khalid Hosseini. Just so good. This one is called Tuesdays with Mori by Mitch Albom. I read this year. This has less than 200 pages in this tiny book. So the language is easy again, and this book has a lot of emotions. It will also make you cry. Tuesdays with Mori, very easy to read for everyone. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. So he is from Japan, the author, but he shifted to England and he writes in English. So Never Let Me Go is a dystopian novel. I would say science fiction also, based at a time when people are expendable. There are a group of people who are just part of a farm. Like we have farms for cows to get milk. In the same manner, they are also brought up in a manner so that they can donate their all important organs to people who can survive. So I know it sounds very disturbing, but this has a lot of depth. I remember watching the movie first, then I thought if there is a book, I'll definitely read it one day. So I read it this year. This is called The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. This has total 4 books. I think 4 or 5 books in this series, and I have read 2. So, in our country, what happens? A lot of people, readers who want to get into reading, they start with self-help books, and they start with non-fiction, which could be really difficult in the beginning, especially where your language comprehension is not that good. You have to look for dictionary all the time, and eventually you lose interest. But if you are reading books like Hunger Games, Harry Potter, or Percy Jackson, you get into the stories, fictional stories. That's what I'm talking about, and I recommend it to everyone. And don't think that this has 4 books. No, your goal should be to enjoy the story and learn this language. Never think of the number of pages or finishing a book. Just have some patience and enjoy the story. Especially beginners and teenagers, they are gonna love it. I was trying to do a challenge where I had to read 30 books in 30 days. Impossible. This is called Same by Any Earnuts. It has just 102 pages, and this is for intermediate level learners. It is about same. We all have our family dynamics, the way we grow up. And if you are somebody who is interested into writing about past, the exploration of what we are right now, so this book is perfect. This is called The Pearl by John Steinbeck. Uh, I have said it multiple times on my channel that I want to read Indian authors, and at the same time I want to read more from American authors, because I feel like the pop culture in America is something that I'm able to relate with. It's very entertaining. I find it very enjoyable. So when I read The Pearl by John Steinbeck, I wouldn't say that it was the best thing I had ever read, but it was readable. And again, it has less than 100 pages. So if you are somebody who can't read longer books or thicker books, then you can give it a try. It is about a group of people, fishermen, who live separately on a beach. They are not part of the main, they are outcasted, and they discover a pearl which is very expensive, and how their life is corrupted because of this, because of how other people are trying to get those things. And I should place these books here, because I know that I'm gonna be making more videos on them very soon. Another book which I read this year, The Train to Pakistan by Kushwant Singh. If you are interested into our Indian history and you hate reading history, the plain textbook, then try fictional books. Then once you are invested, then you can explore the facts and all those things. So it is based during the partition of India and Pakistan. The writing so thought provoking, and recently this movie was released, मैं वापस आऊँगा by Imtiaz Ali. So if you have watched it and you liked it, then you are gonna be horrified how brutal those times were. So intermediate level learners. This book is called Ikigai, very popular book among Indian readers, and I used to watch a lot of anime. So when I heard that there is this philosophy called Ikigai, I was interested. So this is a self-help book. It talks about some habits that you can follow to find your passion, what you want to do in your life. So if you are struggling with those kind of thoughts, then you can read it. The language is easy, but this is a self-help book. 1984 by George Orwell, another relevant book. It's based in dystopian world where everything is watched. Like what is happening in my city right now, they have banned the goddamn internet. So this is something that a lot of people are gonna read and be horrified, and they will be horrified that how relevant this book is, that how the government in this book is trying to control everything. So if you want to read about politics, about how government tries to control the masses, then 1984. So it's for intermediate level learners. This is called Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Take a guess. Who can read this? I read it when I was at beginner or upper intermediate level, and I was able to read this because of my interest in literature. But I suggest, if you are already into reading, only then give it a shot, because it's a very thick book. It doesn't look thick because of how small the text is. There are some 835 pages, but because the text is too tiny, consider it some 1500 or 1400 pages in a normal paperback. So I love Russian literature. I want to read more from them. And I still remember when I was working in a school that how deeply interested I was to understand the text, even though there were a lot of difficult words, but I kept pushing myself that I had to read this, I have to finish this, I have to complete this. And also the story was appealing. And I'm somebody who doesn't give up on books, films, TV shows very easily. I try to find one character, one thing that I'm into, and then I kept going on. And I just found an old railway ticket here. So you can also keep things like this as a bookmark. I remember traveling to Delhi and I got a lot of books that time. So Anna Karenina, advanced level readers, looking for a thought provoking story, a lot of characters, a lot of depth, this book is for you. This one is again one of my favorite books. It is called A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. And I told you earlier that if you have never cried reading a book, you are gonna cry like a baby reading Khalid Hosseini. The character of this book, just thinking about them makes me teary eyes. It's just so powerfully written and just so much emotion in this book. I always get this urge to reread this, but I'm never prepared. Murakami, Norwegian Wood by Murakami. His stories are very disturbing in a manner that you have to be open-minded, that not everyone enjoys his stories, even though he's a very popular among Indian readers, but I think especially women, girls, they don't prefer to read him because the way he writes those characters, I understand why they don't like him, but I enjoy his writing because how easy it is to read. And also, he writes into this special genre called magical surrealism. He blends supernatural things with real life so masterfully that you just can't stop reading him. So, for beginners, perfect, but you have to be open minded. I will let you make your decision this time. This book is called The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. He writes very deeply, very difficult to understand. So this is for advanced level readers or English learners because this book will either change your life or you will stop reading because it's just so difficult to read. But I'm really proud of myself to read this because I love writing of Dostoevsky. This is something that gives me a lot of things to think about, not just something that you read and you can just put it away. It's not just time pass. It is that the purest form of storytelling or literature. So some serious readers, if you want to explore Russian authors and Russian literature and classic books, then Fyodor Dostoevsky is the man for you. And the best part about reading classic is that you don't feel alone. You see, this book was written in 1800 or I don't remember exactly, but this book is very old. And when you are reading classic books, you are able to find that how similar we are. People from 200 years ago had similar kind of thoughts, had similar kind of emotions, and see how different our lifestyle is. So if you want to read something deep, challenging, then try The Brothers Karamazov. This book is a collection of short stories translated into English from Urdu, Manto, and Ismat Chugtai. I got it from Delhi, and I'm really interested into reading Manto. So I don't think I have that insane spine to read Urdu right now. So I thought if it is translated in English, then I would read it. So, and short stories are perfect for beginners because they are short. You are able to reread them multiple times and they are relatable also. This book is called Untouchable by Mulk Raj Anand, one of my favorite books from Indian authors because this deals with the life of this character called Baka, and this book has had a really big impact on me. And then I started educating myself on the history of Untouchable and how society is divided in our country. I want to read more books like this. This is for everyone. This one is called The Great Gatsby by Fitzgerald, American author. I read this book because of Murakami, because he is one of those authors who mention a lot of names, movies, music, books, and one of the characters from Norwegian Wood was obsessed with this book, and I wanted to know why he is reading this so many times. So I gave it a shot. I didn't like it the first read. I loved the movie, but I wasn't able to enjoy this book. So maybe in future I'll try to reread it. I don't know. So, and I'd recommend it to intermediate level learners. Now, my favorite genre is fantasy and fiction. And there is no perfect place to start than The Lord of the Rings. You can consider it a single book, you can consider it 3 or 4 books. There is a book called Hobbit, and then there are 3 books, The Lord of the Rings. The part one is called The Fellowship of the Ring, second one is called The Two Towers, and the third one is called The Return of the King. So it's on you whether you want to consider it a single novel or 3 parts. Now, The Hobbit is very easy to read language wise, very simple language, but this one is a little complex. So, once you have finished reading Hobbit, then try to get yourself into this, The Lord of the Rings. And after you are done, you can watch the movies. The movies are great. And if you have already watched the films, then I think this will be a lot easier to read. So, if you are at intermediate level looking for something long to read, then The Lord of the Rings is for you. And whenever I clean my bookshelf and I get to see this manga basically means Japanese comics. This is called real, and they come in volumes like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. So this is volume 4, and this was gifted by one of my friends who is not in touch with me anymore. So she gifted me when I was in class 12, and look at the panels. These are called panels. I am always grateful. Mangas are really expensive, and this is an original one. So I hope to earn enough money one day to collect mangas too. They are expensive, but I used to read them a lot. I haven't been reading a lot of mangas these days, but I want to get back to reading mangas because they are just so good. And I would suggest to beginners also to read some comics, graphic novels, manga, because of the pictures and the dialogues, you will be more interested. This is called Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is how I was introduced to him. A lot of people read his book called The White Knights. That's how they are introduced, but I wanted to go deep, heavy. So, Crime and Punishment, and one of the most popular character from fictional literature is Raskolnikov. Uh, Very thought provoking. I would suggest that if you are at intermediate or advanced level, again, if you want to explore Russian literature and a lot of a book that can change your life, give you a lot of perspective, a lot of thoughts, then Crime and Punishment for you. The next book is called Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is similar to 1984 in terms of genre. It is based in a dystopian world. There in 1984, people were tortured, but here people are loved way too much. Babies are born in laboratory, so he imagined a society where everybody was happy. So I read this in my third year of college. This book will not disappoint you, but intermediate or advanced level readers should read this. APJ Abdul Kalam, his autobiography called Wings of Fire. I assume all of us are interested into his life, how he became the president, his lifestyle. So I wanted to know about him, and I read it probably 2 years ago. And yeah, I don't think this book requires any introduction. So this is for everyone. Beginners, it doesn't matter. It's an autobiography. This book is called The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Here he has personified death. We have death as main character, and this book will make you cry. It is about war, so anything related to war is always heartbreaking, and also the language is easy, so beginners can also try this. A book by Sally Rooney, Normal People. There is a very popular TV series also. So I used to get a lot of recommendation in my Insta reels. So instead of watching the TV show, I thought, you know what, let's read Sally Rooney. So she is really popular among Gen Z. She is a modern writer, and I understand why her writing is so popular. So because just so relatable, even though she is writing in Britain, even Indian people can relate with, except some parts. But yeah, young people read Normal People. Even beginners can enjoy it and understand it. One of my favorite books of all time. I read it last year. Stoner by John Williams. I love this kind of story. Slice of life where mundane life where nothing much happens but a lot of things happens. So this book is about a professor, an English teacher. I love the writing. I love the character. I love the whole goddamn book. So for everyone, the language is simple, and but it can be a little boring for a lot of people because nothing much happens. But for people like me who are into literature, who wants to know how people read, how reading can change their lives, so if that sounds interesting to you, then Stoner by John Williams is for you. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Again, I love this book. How funny this one is. This is for intermediate level readers, but I think beginners can give it a little bit of push to themselves and they will be able to enjoy this one, because I had a great time reading this. And I love this size of books. It's not pocket size, it's not a normal paperback, but it's very easy to carry, so I just wanted to mention it here. This book is called Meditation by Marcus Aurelius. It is his thoughts. He was the Roman emperor and it is his thoughts. So if you are interested into self-help, you want to get your life together, then maybe reading this book will give you a lot of ideas. And this is not something you can finish it in a single day. It's very difficult to read, language wise also. Guess what? 500 rupees. I don't remember putting it here. Is it magic or what? I feel like I should start putting money in my books from now on. What a pleasant surprise, guys. I'm gonna use this today. I highly recommend it. You are gonna find money in this book. This one is called Small Things Like This by Claire Keegan. She is a British author, and this book is favorite of my favorite actor, Cillian Murphy, and he recommended this. And recently, a film was made on this. I guess who is the main actor? Cillian Murphy. This is based in Ireland, a small village. It deals with the politics there, how people used to be tormented. So, if you are interested, give it a shot. And this is almost 100 pages, so I think everybody can try it, even beginners. This one is called A Passage to India by E.M. Foster, another book from my literature days when I was part of this college, so I had to read this, and I also like this one. Anything that is based in our country, I love to read. So E.M. Foster, A Passage to India, and there is also a movie on it, so for everyone. Even if you are a beginner, you can give it a shot. This one is called Kanthapura by Raja Rao, Indian author, and I had to read this in my literature syllabus. So this one I am a little skeptical because this was based on Gandhi's philosophy, so some people consider it a propaganda. A book for adults, so it doesn't matter whether you are a beginner, intermediate or advanced level speaker. If you are an adult, then you will enjoy this. The book 11 Minutes by Paulo Coelho, and I'm not gonna say much about this because I have mixed feelings, but I had a great time reading it language wise because I had just started learning English and I wanted to explore more of Paulo Coelho's writing, so I was reading his books continuously. The Alchemist, The Spy, then 11 Minutes, then there is this book called Jahir, which I don't have. I gifted it to my teacher. I don't know whether he read it or not, but this one for adults. As I mentioned that I love fantasy, I also love science fiction. So this is a series called The Three Body Problem by Cixin Liu. And believe me, once you are able to survive the first 50 pages, this will blow your mind. How entertaining this is, the ideas in this book, out of this world. And I have talked about this book multiple times on my channel. I read it because of Rohan Joshi, who is my favorite internet personality, a comedian. The kind of recommendation video he makes, my favorite guy. So he recommended this and I thought, you know what, I'm looking for some science fiction novel, and yeah, I read it very quickly last year and it just blew my mind. And that's the thing, like sometimes you can treat books like time pass, but the ideas in them will keep you hooked. So that this book did it for me. I recommend it to everyone, and also even beginners can enjoy it because of the language. The first book is written like you are playing a video game, so it's not too difficult to understand, but the introduction can be a little bit challenging to get into, but I was able to read it quickly. So yeah, very fun read. Now a couple of books that I read it this year. This one is called The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I have talked about this one and I have been enjoying reading Ernest Hemingway a lot because of the lucidity in his writing. It's just so quick, so entertaining, too punchy. So I want to read more from him this year. So, and this one is for everyone, by the way. Anyone, everyone can enjoy it. And as I mentioned earlier, that if you are trying to get into reading, short stories are the best place to start. This one is by Murakami, Men Without Women. The stories are, I would say, very fucked up. Some of them are, some of them truly are. So, just give it a shot and see if you like the writing of his books or not. And there is this special story, Drive My Car. There is a movie based on it. The story here is just 40 pages, but the movie is more than 2 hours long. I had watched the movie first, and when I was reading it, I was thinking that why does it sound so familiar? Then I realized that wait, I really love this movie, and I'll mention the director's name. Maybe he's called Hamaguchi, a Japanese filmmaker, and I love all of his work. So maybe once you have watched the movie and you try to read this book, you will find it interesting enough. Again, I'm contradicting myself. I told you to read the books first, then try to watch movie. But sometimes you accidentally watch a movie, you like it so much, you start looking for the original content, whether this was where this was adapted from. So that's how. And here I just happened to encounter it randomly. Now let's move to the second shelf. There are some books which I am supposed to read this year. There are some series which I have already finished. So these are other 6 books of Harry Potter. This is called a box set, so it's very easy to move. You don't have to do much. Everything is placed perfectly. Now, I discovered Brandon Sanderson last year, and he has become my all-time favorite author. It doesn't matter what your current level is. I would suggest to read his books, and you will fall in love with storytelling. So this is called Stormlight Archive. Basically, there are 5 books, and each book is as humongous as this one. Let me show you. This is, by the way, called mass market paperback, so it doesn't look thick, but this has some 1200 pages, and look at the text of the book. It's so tiny, and I love this kind of book, the mass market paperback, but the spine is very bad. It just cracks way too easily. This is what you will find. Usually you are reading this much of text, so if you are ready to invest some 1 year 6 months in some good writing and a great story, then I highly recommend Stormlight Archive. This has become my all-time favorite book or series, whatever I want to call it. This has a special place in my heart. I'm never gonna forget it. And this is the only book which I have read twice. This is called The Way of Kings, and the second part of it, Words of Radiance. Not completely though. I only read this arc of Kaladin, who is also my all-time favorite character. I wouldn't consider my life is as miserable as Kaladin, but he never gives up. So I read it way too quickly, 8 months, to read this 5 gigantic book series, and I will never shut up about talking about this. So if you want to take one suggestion from this, something that will keep you hooked for the next 8 9 months, then pick up Brandon Sanderson series Stormlight Archive. And as I mentioned earlier, that my habit is to continue what I love. So I read this series, Mistborn trilogy, total 3 books in this series also. And this book is for everyone. I would suggest to beginners also, because the story is very interesting. And you will also be introduced to the writing of Brandon Sanderson, how he likes to write, how he introduces his characters. And I think in the next 1 or 2 years, we might get a movie adaptation on this books also. And this is called The Hobbit, great for everyone. I think I already talked about this in the beginning. I have 2 copies of the first book of Harry Potter, so if you need one, make sure to leave a comment and in your address. I might send it to you. I've already cleaned this area. I don't think there is a lot of dust because most of these books are new and I placed them very recently. So I just wiped the dust, and I might make a separate video very soon, but let's talk about what I have right now on my table. John Steinbeck, just a few moments ago. This is called East of Eden. So it's a classic book which I want to read very soon. And another recommendation from one of my favorite booktubers. He mentioned James, so I got it and I want to read it. This is part 5 of Red Rising book series. I am reading book number 4, so book number 5 I read it soon. I am in the middle of this book called The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I have taken a break from it, so I will read it soon. This one is called The Swan's Way. This in the Search of Lost Time, Volume 1. Total 5 or 7 books are there. This is the longest piece of literature ever written. I was trying to read it this year, but I don't think I'll be reading it. So, next year probably. Dune, I love the film. I want to read the book also. So, hopefully, this year we are reading it. Indian author, in other words, by Jhumpa Lahiri. I don't think she was born in India, but she is an Indian author, so I want to read. These are called pocket-sized books. All of these are drama by William Shakespeare. So one day, hopefully. This one is The Great Short Stories by Anton Chekhov. So if short stories are the best place to start, so I recommend it to everyone. I haven't read the whole book, all the stories, but I have covered some 60% of it. This one is almost the whole collection of Khalil Gibran's writing. I don't think this covers the whole thing, but this is a hardbound. I got it last year, but I haven't been able to read the whole thing. So I want to read it, and I'm gonna keep it on my near my bed now. I read The White Tiger this year by Arvind Adiga, so Indian author. I'm gonna keep it here. And this is for everyone, beginner, intermediate level, it doesn't matter. Another copy of The Prophet, A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mistry, one of the most popular books of Indian authors among literature students. So I recommend it to intermediate level learners. The story is amazing and just beautifully written, heartbreaking also. I'm reading this right now, Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. I have read the 3 books in the e-reader that I have, and I'm also reading this book, The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa. So this book has no structure whatsoever. You can read one page from here and there. So yeah, I'm gonna keep these 3 on my bed. So after cleaning all this thing, I feel like I have more space. This is the e-reader that I was talking about. The cover of it, the e-reader is in my bag. So I earned 500 rupees by making this video. I hope you have also got the book recommendation that you were looking for. If you have read any of the books that I discussed, make sure to leave a few comments and what are your thoughts. And if you have any book suggestion that you want me to read, also leave a few more comments. And if you want to learn spoken English online, then you can reach out to me on my number. I provide individual and group sessions. So let's learn English together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.